Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to our Tuesday, January 11th, 2022 board meeting. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order here, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Southgate's mission statement, learning for life. Vision statement, Southgate Community Schools is the best choice for students and parents. Many of you may or may not know today is our organizational meeting, so we're going to start with an election of officers. The way that we'll do this is I'll read through each of the officer positions from president to secretary. We'll take motions to or nominations, and once there's acceptance, they'll be awarded with that office. All offices will begin at the next regularly scheduled board meeting. So let's start with the office of board president. This person will be succeeding me, and I would like to nominate Jason Craig. Are there any? Do you accept that nomination, sir?
I do, thank you.
Are there any other nominations for president?
I'll support it.
Seeing none, go ahead. You're now the new president, so you'll take that office next board meeting. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Mr. President, I'd like to make a nomination for vice president.
Okay.
I'd like to nominate Tim Estheimer for vice president.
Thank you. I accept that nomination. Any other vice president nominations? All right. Thank you. I accept that. And then that takes us to treasurer. Do you have any nominations for treasurer? I'd like to nominate Mr. Rick Lamos as our treasurer. Rick, do you accept that nomination?
Yeah, I will.
Thank you. Any other nominations for treasurer? Seeing none, thank you, Rick. Congratulations.
Mr. President,
Go ahead, Mr. Craig.
I'd like to make a nomination for secretary.
Yes,
I'd
sir.
like to nominate Dr. Darlene Pomponio.
Dr. Darlene Pomponio, you accept that position?
Thank you. Yes, I do.
All right. Any other nominations for secretary? Seeing none, we can close out our officers meeting. Congratulations to all newly appointed or officers that are staying in their positions. We're going to go on now to the revisions and approval of our agenda. Board members should have an agenda in front of them, and I'll accept the motion to accept.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you, Dr. Pomponio. Do we have a second to that motion? Supported by Mr. Sage. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call that action. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have a agenda tonight. And then that takes us right to citizen comments. First off, we have Ms. Billy Schultz. If you can make your way up to the front, there's a microphone right here. Our secretary be recording or be taking the time on this. We ask that you make your comments 3 minutes. Direct them here to the board. This is a comment, not a Q&A, comment session. So with that, I will say welcome, and you can begin your comments. Start with your name and address, sorry.
Good evening. My name is Billy Schultz. I'm a Southgate resident. I took on so much information today from the MDHHS, the Michigan State Board of Education, which I'm currently still listening to since 9:30 this morning, and Wayne County Health Department meeting today. I had 2 laptops going and my cell phone today. I feel from attending these meetings and listening to all the board members, I have learned that they do not really care about our youth or our rights as parents. While on the state board meeting, they had teachers, school board members, coaches, and parents all calling in during public comment. There was over 171 people in for a public comment, which they're still currently going through. I was able to speak at both of the school board and the Wayne County meetings. I hope that this administration and board members at least sent emails standing up for our children, staff, teachers, and their rights regarding the resolutions that were added to the state board agenda today. The resolutions that about that were added were about the teacher shortage, which did pass, the CRT program, which passed, the vaccines and masking for students that did not pass, and testing. This board needs to start attending these meetings and speaking up. Not one board member was at either one of these meetings, and there was several school board members from the UP and the Lower Peninsula that spoke at these meetings. We need representative from our school district besides myself. If you cannot get on the Zoom, then please start sending emails. You may not have the authority over these mandates, but you can speak up and stand for our children. That is why we voted for you in these seats that you sit up there now for. Parents, staff, teachers, students do not want these all mandates. No vaccine, no clinics in our schools, no PCR testing, no remote. With these mandates keep coming, the teacher shortage is going to get greater. Parents are going to start pulling their kids out to homeschool them in larger numbers. Without students, there won't be a public school to attend. We would not have to be going remote in most of these classes right now if we would stop quarantining healthy children and falsely quarantining other children that weren't even in a close contact. My first grader is quarantined right now, who is a very healthy child. She shows no symptoms. Her contact was on January 6th. I was notified at lunchtime on January 10th. If she was going to show any symptoms, we would already have seen them by now. One last thing, there is a case in the federal court for the emergency motion which is an emergency motion to force all schools to be open in person and learning and not be remote. I suggest you guys also keeping an eye on that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Robert Pawlowski?
Good evening and Happy New Year. Robert Pawlowski, and I live at 12757 Chestnut Street in Southgate. First off, I'd like to start with, I left you two things at the beginning of this board meeting. What those two things are the Adopt-A-Stop that I have brought up last meeting. I pretty much gave you the rundown on what it is last meeting. It's basically a community effort, getting more in communities and school districts involved with cleaning up a bus stop and showing up to show their community of what they're worth. Because I know a lot of communities that are suffering and a lot of communities are completely polluted with garbage around bus stops and everywhere, especially in the city of Detroit, and somewhere around here as well. I'd like to get this district involved with this program due to the fact of how much crime and how much everything that's going on within these shelters. There are a lot of drug deals, there are a lot of panhandles, and a lot of things going on. Even the shelters are trashed to the point where they're not worth it anymore. And getting more students involved, especially in our environmental club, or some people, or if detention is going on around here, a little punishment right there. You know, certain things like that we can use, you know, especially people that are in detention. This will give them a wake-up call as well, and also give them a change of heart on what they feel in life. Definitely getting them involved and also getting this district involved with Adopt-A-Stop is the first step to giving our community a better chance of looking a lot better, especially when it comes to bus shelters being trashed. There's more information on those forms if you'd like to take a look. If you have any more questions for me, please feel free to pull me aside at the end of this board meeting. Second thing you have is a 4-hour bus pass. It was instated in May 1st of 2019. It has been running for almost 2.5 years now. This is basically the start of a campaign that I'm running throughout the summer of this year, and I'm getting more school districts involved, including Riverview and Southgate as well, including Wyandotte, Taylor, and Romulus as well. It shows how much we need students, especially that students that are school of choice, don't have a lot of options. For example, River Rouge or E-Course, a lot of families out there do not have access to a car or do not have access to a ride in the mornings, and they do come down here for school. Having another option and bringing more transit, especially regional transit, I know the millage is coming up this November, and we're also trying to push in 2024 to push the RTA, which is basically a regional-wide transit system connecting Washtenaw, Oakland, Macomb, and Wayne, Monroe counties. This will definitely give students more options and also not make them late for school with the current transit system that is in place. I'm sticking up for this for our students that do take public transit every day to and from school as well as their jobs. I know that, some students rather have a car or also use the alternative that was just approved last meeting, which is our Dean Transportation. Providing just Dean Transportation and having SMART involved with our district, this will change the way we look at transit. And I really would like to see our district jump on board with, the good things with transit. It has changed over the years to something better than what it was before. And getting our district involved with that would be, great. And then also shows that, you care about our students. And I hope to see that soon. The reason I left the bus passes out for all of our board members today is to take a chance, take a day, ride it and see what you think. Come back with your thoughts. Get your opinion on it. I know some of our board members do have families. It'll work when you go out to a Tigers game. The Q line works with that. Or, you could take it to work one day. Anything of that. Those passes currently run for $2 a piece, but because I'm a student, I get those for 50 cents. So you got a little bit of a discount. But, even give them to your student. Give them to your daughter or your son. And, if you trust them, and let them get on public transit. Get their thoughts. They are the future of this generation. Instead of pushing electric cars, electric scooters, and all things self-drivable, let's look into mass transit, and let's look into the real issues and save our environment, especially with our environmental club. They do so much great work, and then having this on board, this will definitely work for them. So take the chance. Take a ride on it, and bring back your thoughts. And I hope to see you honk sometime. I'll be campaigning in certain spots around these counties.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no more comments? No? Okay. All right, that brings us to presentations. We have any presentations tonight? Okay.
No presentations today.
All right, and item G, superintendent update.
Yes, I just wanted to express my appreciation for all of the patience and flexibility that our staff and students and families are showing during this time. We are doing everything we can to retain as many in-person options as possible for our students. We do recognize that the recommendations for handling cases is evolving very quickly, and we are working to respond to those changes as quickly as possible, and you can expect frequent updates on how we're adjusting to the most recent recommendations. So I would just ask that everyone stay very closely linked to the emails that we send out for those updates.
Thank you. Ms. Wilson, do you have anything for us tonight? No. That moves us to our consent agenda, which consists of the December 14, 2021, 6 p.m. closed session, the 6:20 closed session the same day, 6:40 closed session, and then finally the December 14, 2021 regular board meeting.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support. Thank you. Motion by Pomponia, supported by Mr. Lamas. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And now we have our HR update. You all have gotten that. Was that all in the consent?
Yeah, that was all.
Oh, sorry. Wow, that was a big consent, so I apologize. So we had the meeting minutes in there, we had our HR update, we have disbursements, and then it talks about, and this is all on our agenda, which is on our website, talks about our operation organization. So it goes through in detail, which we have to do annually, establishing banking and board meeting days and times and that type of thing. So if you have any questions about that, just go ahead and you can find that on the website. Item J are action items tonight. So action item 1 is the approval of the closure of the MILAF Accounting Holding 2016 Capital Project Funds.
Yes, we're asking for the 2016 Capital Project Fund MyLof account to be closed. As of November 30, it had $591.10. That funding will be transferred over to the Huntington checking account, capital projects.
Okay. Any questions for staff? Seeing none, we'll accept the motion for action item 1.
Mr. President, I move to approve the closure of the MILAF account holding 2016 capital project funds as presented.
Thank you, Dr. Paponio.
Support.
Supported by Mr. Craig. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 2, approval of the overnight band and winter color guard trip. Who will be presenting that?
I will go ahead
Okay.
and present this on behalf of Zach Nowicki. We do have Winter Guard Regional and World Championships that we will be attending on February 12th and 13th in Avon, Indiana, as well as Dayton, Ohio, April 5th through 9th. And our Southgate Winter Guard will represent us well, as they always do, and these are overnight trips, and this is a resolution requesting approval for that field trip.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? And there's further information on our clickable link on our agenda that's posted on our website as well. All right, and we'll take a motion for that trip.
Mr. President, I move to approve the overnight trips to Avon, Indiana, February 12th to 13th, and Dayton, Ohio, April 5th through 9th, for Winter Guard competitions as presented.
Thank you, Dr. Pomponio. Supported by Mr. Sage. Any further discussion on that? We wish them the best of luck. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right.
Good luck.
Action item 3, the approval of the School of Choice program for the 2022-2023 school year. Our superintendent will be presenting that.
Yes, annually, we participate in a School of Choice program. Typically, we've applied to bring in 50 kindergarten students and then grades 1 through 11 as space allowed. And those windows were generally, the School of Choice window for kindergarten was in March, and grades 1 through 11 was in August. We would like to make some revisions to our School of Choice program. We want to make sure that we are getting quick responses to families who are interested in attending Southgate Community Schools. And we believe that if we ask our families to wait until August, there are those that will find alternate sources for schooling. We also want ample time to go over records. We do plan to create some additional rules around School of Choice. One of those is we will not accept any student who has had a suspension or expulsion ever, or a suspension in the last 2 years. We want ample time to make sure that we collect those records. We're also looking at making sure that we are considering the types of programs we have available and whether we have full opportunity for enrollment or limited opportunity for enrollment. So this is the School of Choice program that we'd like to have implemented. We have not yet submitted it to Wayne Risa for approval. It would still be subject to approval. It does require some legal nuancing because we want to make sure that our Atlas programming online is available to any student that would like to get in, but we do want to limit our enrollment in kindergarten as well as any other grade level. We also plan to open a pilot program for International Baccalaureate, which will be presented to the board at the next board meeting. And we want to have some limited options available there as well. So we are requesting that for our School of Choice window for 22-23 to be March 1st through 25th for kindergarten through 11th grade, all programs and qualifying non-resident students. August 15th through 19th for K-5 students limited to space identified at that time, and resident Southgate students 1 through 12 who have moved out of the district and wish to stay in Southgate Community Schools. We would have program school of choice type, Atlas Online Programming Unlimited, International Baccalaureate Programming Limited, 10 students for kindergarten, 10 for first, 10 for second, 10 for third. K through 11, not IB limited, 40 students for kindergarten, 10 through each of the grades thereon. K-5, not IB limited in August, is spaces to be announced, and I do see a date conflict there that we'll need to adjust. So if the board approves this approach to handling school of choice, we will work on the application process with Wayne Risa to make that happen. If, to the extent that we have some limitations on that, we would adjust, but we would definitely have this window much earlier, and I believe that we'll find that we get a better showing of students, I think, at that time frame.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Irvine?
I have a question.
Please, Dr.
Can you-
Pomponio.
Thank you. Can you clarify what the International Baccalaureate program is?
So that is something that we will present at our next board meeting. So it is a pilot program that will involve kindergarten through third grade, very limited enrollment, using the International Baccalaureate application. And we are looking at locating that at North Point Elementary.
Okay, and then the other question I have is, so for the Atlas online program, if it's a school of choice, are they locked in for the year, or can they make a different choice, like midway through, or?
That's a good question. If they come in from school of choice into Atlas, they are there for the year.
Okay,
The Atlas enrollment that allows us to move between Atlas enrollment and in-person, which right now is, we're trying to create options for families who are making big decisions about the health of their families right now. That's only available to students who are going through our in-person process.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much. So, back to the table here, approval of the School of Choice program for 2022 and 2023. That's what's before us.
Mr. President, I move to approve the School of Choice program for Southgate Community Schools for 2022 to 2023 as presented.
Thank you, Dr. Pomponio. You have a second to that?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Lamas. All right, any further discussion on that? Yeah, Mr. Craig.
So I guess I'll repeat what I've done in the years past, is I don't really like the school of choice. I'm not a big fan of it. I could probably go along with parts of this, but it's coming as a whole. So I will not be able to support this item in front of us. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else have anything to say? All right. All right, I'll go ahead and call the question then. All those in favor of the approval of the School of Choice program 2022-2023, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
All right. Could we, let's do a roll call vote on that?
No.
Yes.
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 All right, thank you. Motion carries. All right, item 4 on the action agenda, approval of the agreement between SAEA and SCSD Board of Education. Ms. Irvine?
We're pleased that we have reached an agreement through the end of the 22-23 school year at this time with SAEA, which is our alternative education teachers.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Irvine? No? All right. I will accept the motion for approval of that agreement then.
Mr. President,
Yeah, Mr. Craig.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agreement between SAEA and SCSD, the Board of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Craig. Do we have a second to that motion?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Lamas. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Moves us to another agreement. This one was between the BESSS and the Southgate Community School District Board of Education. Ms. Irvine.
Yes, I am pleased to say that we have reached an agreement with our Beacon Day Treatment support specialists. All of our staff, both SAEA and BES and SEPA, who is coming up this round, I want to express my appreciation for all that they do and recognize that in an environment in which we struggle to maintain and retain quality staff, we have some exceptional staff that we know that these agreements are here to support and retain. So we want to appreciate, I want to express my appreciation for all that they've done. In this case, it is the BEST group, and we're excited that we have reached that agreement through the 22-23 school year.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Irvine? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Yeah, we need a motion.
Oh, sorry. We'll take a motion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Craig.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agreement between BESSS and the SCSD Board of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Craig. A second to that?
Support?
Supported by Mr. Lamos. All right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? All right, motion carries. You're gonna have to fire me after tonight. Approval of the agreement, this is item 6, approval of the agreement between SSEPA and the Southgate Community School District Board of Education. Ms. Irvine.
Yes, I am pleased to announce that we have reached an agreement with our special education paraprofessionals. And that is the group that is known as SSEPA. And as I mentioned in my prior comment, we recognize that there's a great demand for our paraprofessionals, and we appreciate the relationships that they have with our kids, and we are happy that we have an agreement ahead that we anticipate will support our kids moving forward.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Ms. Irvine? Seeing none, I'll accept the motion to approve that agreement.
Mr. President, I move to approve the agreement between SSEPA and Southgate Community School District Board of Education.
Thank you, Dr. Pimponi. Do we have a second to that?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Craig. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, that concludes our action items of the evening. We'll go down to K. Are there any scheduled employee representatives?
No, not
Not
this evening.
tonight. And then we'll start with information and announcements here at the table. Anybody wish to speak tonight? Dr. Pamponia.
Oh, thanks. So seeing that it's Board Recognition Month, there are not many times that as a board member we talk about what has touched us or why we do what we do. We are involved and deeply invested in the students and staff. I've had the privilege to work with students in the preschool classes, kindergarten, and each grade all the way up to 12th grade. I've worked one-on-one with students, watched them play sports, receive awards, compete in finals and competitions, and share in the pride of watching them grow, learn, become young adults, and ultimately graduate. We have had to be resilient over the years, but when the children who rely on our best decisions smile up at you and give you thank you notes and a beautiful video with just plain innocence, it reminds me every day and every decision why I do what I do. Thank you for your support, and thank you Ford Line and Ford Line students for the very touching video.
Thank you, Dr. Pamponia. Very nice sentiments. And Mr. Freitas, is that your name?
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
I'd just like to say to our other board member, Andy Green, who's at home watching, that I hope he feels better. And he said we're not speaking loud enough, so we need to up our volume a little bit.
Well done.
Maybe he needs to turn his
Light up
television
last.
up. All right, very good. Anybody else wish to speak tonight? All right, I'm going to take the balance of my time to have you guys do some work. We need to whip out our phones, and we need to come to an agreement on a time to meet for our next retreat meeting. And looking at, like, from the 19th to the 31st, if there's any open dates that work best for any of you. I can make myself available any of those days.
Yeah, any day's fine with me.
Okay. So Darlene and I are open. Jason, you're available after 4 or after 5 most times during the week?
Most days after, probably about 5:30 is that.
Okay, so do we want to do an evening, or do you want to do like a Saturday morning session? What would you prefer? Coach, what about you, Coach?
If we
Sage?
could do an evening, I'd,
Yeah,
Okay.
What
6
dates are we
o'clock.
looking at?
So, how about, let's start with Wednesday or how about the 20th? Thursday, the 20th?
I will not
I
be
have a meeting.
here.
So when, you're out of town?
Yeah, I get back on Friday morning, the 21st.
I have
All
a
right.
county meeting on Thursday and the 20th.
How about the 26th,
I cannot attend the 20th.
27th? Going once?
Is the 18th bad? You said the 18th was bad?
Yeah, I
Yeah, I'll
won't,
be out of
I'm out of
town.
town until the 19th.
Sorry.
Little getaway. The 27th? Works for Sage,
I'm good.
I'm okay.
works for this side of the table, works for Irvine, so we're just waiting on you, Mr.
I
Craig.
can do the 27th.
Yay, we have a winner, 27th. Please put that on your calendar, 6 PM. I will provide some pizza. All right, sorry to bore everybody in the audience and at home, but that was work that needed to be done. And with that, I'll accept a motion to close. From anybody.
Make a motion to close.
Thank you, Dr. Pomponio. Usually, Mr. Green is the one that makes that motion. That was supported by Mr. Craig. All right, so Pomponio, Craig, and any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We are closed. Adjourned at
What time did we say?
7:31. Thank you all very much.
What, was it,
We said 6.